I can see that the affix mapping is driving a lot of these discussions about what it might mean for assessment in these two languages. So what is your sense about assessment in these languages? Why do you think earlier tests did not focus on morphological awareness? Is it because we don't have a mapping, or is it because there is no real need to actually assess morphological development because it's so spontaneously acquired?
In the case of language and literacy assessments in Filipino, as far as we can tell, there is no morphological awareness test for children yet. In the wider literature, it is also fairly recently when researchers have started giving focus on morphological awareness compared to the oft assessed phonological awareness, word recognition, and decoding. So if we go by the research literature in Western educated, industrialized, rich, and democratic countries, we could say that attention on morphological awareness has just started to take hold. And maybe in a few years' time, we will see more assessment measures that will take into consideration the importance of this particular skill in language and literacy development.
I think that's such an important point about the tendency for understudied languages to map on their own literacy and language batteries to batteries that have been developed for English or for a Western language. And perhaps one of the things we are learning from this experience is that there needs to be less mimicking and more of grounded approach for the language. Could I ask Dr. Rauno to come online? I can see you put on your camera. Would you like to make a comment at this point?
Oh, just that the Anglocentric theorizing I think we've kind of run at the end of that road. And by starting to look at different kinds of languages with entirely different morphological structures and graphophonemic structures, I think that we will be able to come up with brand new questions that also then help us to move forward with an understanding of English and English reading development. That's why it's so nice to see that you are starting to get to the details of the languages that you're studying in a manner that we can actually then do very controlled experiments, which we can't do without understanding the structures of languages and the frequencies of graphemes and phonemes and morphemes and all that. And so with this kind of a knowledge that you're creating, we can ask questions where we don't need to, which we couldn't ask in English. And if we would include English into the languages studied, we would have to sort of bastardize the tasks for other languages because of the very poor morphology of English and very, very high frequency of very short words, which is not typical of many other languages.